or change our content as well. And that's had quite an impact on the sort of connections we've been able to build, and I'll say a bit more about that. I just grabbed a few stats from the analytics running on it, and we've had 8 million distinct visitors since we launched 3 years ago. And this shows actually a picture of the last 6 months with nearly 2 million people visiting the site. And the thing about that has changed for us by being involved in this open world is our audience is now very global. We still have a UK dominance. That little pie chart there is showing the number of people who come from the UK. The green segment, the second largest there, is people from the US. The orange one is Canada. So in a typical month we'll have about 500,000 visitors, and maybe 20,000 of those will be Canadians, or at least coming from a Canadian IP address. But what's also very interesting is that big grey segment there, which are people from other places, and we do get people from all sorts of places. If you look through our stats, we got people from the Vatican City, from countries we don't even know exist, and it really is sort of a window to the world, and a place where it's very difficult then to research all of those various experiences. We can't ask every individual to fill in a questionnaire for us. Our partners at Carnegie Mellon University have also been involved in this open world with the Open Learning Initiative, and they took a very research-based approach, and I think this is really why Hewlett sort of joined us together in our new project, because we both sort of saw the challenge of trying to understand what's going on. We saw Open Learn as an experiment. They see Open Learning Initiative as a way to get data about what people do. That's all about us as partners, and we're certainly not the only people involved in this. The OpenCourseWare Consortium has members from all over the country, and this is sort of this picture sort of shows a quick breakdown by different countries as they're classified as on the OpenCourseWare Consortium site. So I label a few segments there. You'll see that perhaps surprisingly, it's in terms of membership, in terms of the number of organizations taking place, it's Spain that is the biggest, and second is the affiliates. These are people who actually don't really have a country location. And then the US comes in, UK is down, shown marked there, and Canada, which is Athabasca University, and I think one other, I ought to check beforehand, but I think it's just a couple of Canadian universities that are part of the OpenCourseWare Consortium. Of course, you don't have to join in, because it is a very open approach. And the OER world is getting more organized, so this is OER Commons, where we've got a route into the content, so people can now start to find things. Okay, I'm just going to change tack a bit and sort of talk about sort of the issues that come up, and just sort of quickly take you through what I call some of the traps of trying to work in, I suppose, projects like this. I'm going to say open educational resource world, but it's as much the style of projects where you're trying to introduce learning technology, and the web that we're trying to spin is also a trap for us as well. So one of these things is I call it the legacy trap, that we might be doing new things, but we're still working with the same old dinosaur of education systems, and it's how much some of the open impact is actually going to tear us all apart and cause an evolutionary step change. Are we actually involved in working on the end of the university, or are we trying to evolve and keep the university going? And whichever of those is true, it still means we need to work on this. We need to work on the future that's offered by openness and the way we can see it changing as people use different tools all around. There's the search trap. Now, in this sense, I suppose what I'm saying is that a lot of the projects A lot of work happens where people are trying to do search better than Google. If you're trying to be better than the leaders in this field, then you're probably doing the wrong thing, and you need to work alongside the facilities that everybody is using. And along with that goes what I call the metadata trap, which is if only everything was really well described, then it would be great and we could do all sorts of things with it. So metadata is the descriptive data that goes along with the objects that you're producing. And if this rather made up graph is, if it can feel like this, that you're spending more time producing the description of the materials than you are actually sharing it and making it available to the world. The build it and they will come trap. I spent the main part of today actually in London at a meeting of the JISC-funded UK OER projects, and those projects are all trying to avoid this particular trap. They're trying to pay attention to how people will use and share. But nonetheless, we, and I'm including myself in this, come along as producers. We can see it as sort of putting our wares available to the world, and people will come along. And while it's very evident from OpenLearn that you do get the visitors, unless you sort of think about the user experience, what users will get out of this, then I don't think that everybody gets all the benefits that are possible. The system is everything trap, and this is a genuine system diagram from OpenLearn, and it's a very good one actually if you interpret it, but you sort of get involved in the production of a computer system, how things work together, rather than, again, sort of looking at things from a user perspective and taking advantage of all the opportunities that are out there. For one-stop trap, I've described us as a research project. We've got a website. We love it when people comment on things that we're doing, but actually, we shouldn't imagine it is the one place where people will come. We need to be operating on the environments that people operate, both as learners and as fellow researchers. And the perfectionist trap. So these were, there's also an example of reuse in my case, because these are Lego models that my son built a few years ago, and on the left are some rather wonderful, very carefully designed Lego airplanes. On the right are my son's own design, and the question is sort of which is more fun, which is, it comes down to what's more suitable for purpose. But certainly if you put all your effort into perfecting things, particularly when somebody's actually going to come along and break it back up into Lego bricks and build something different, you can be spending a lot of time being a perfectionist. And step forward for OpenLearn was when we adopted a sort of beta position, that we would release material before the final check. We deleted a sort of proofreading check that we had in there, which we could see was holding everything up. And forgetting the past, so looking back, this is one example of the past, but there's many others. In Deschooling Society, Ivan Illich considered what would be possible if only there was a yellow pages of all the resources that are out there in the world. And at that stage, he literally meant a yellow pages, a directory you could flick through. Well, now we've got in electronic form something beyond what he could imagine. In terms of his thinking about the impact and how it might change society, there's very interesting things to be found by looking back in the past. And the Holy Grail, that you set yourself up to search for something that you can never find, you can never achieve. This often actually equates to the wish that for reuse and repurposing, that if you put material out there and somebody's going to come along and make it better and give it back,